Through cutthroat competition and self-interest, one firm has managed to survive for more than a century, and in the process, become the symbol of Wall Street.
Much admired, much hated, and the best risk managers on Wall Street.
It's clearly a culture that cultivates ruthlessness. Remember, for Goldman to be winners, there had to be losers.
In 1886, after making a small fortune from his clothing business, the Jewish immigrant Marcus Goldman decides to get into finance. He sees a need for small businesses to turn their accounts receivables into cash quickly. At the time, bank loans are harder to get for these small businesses. He will offer to buy their short-term debt at a discount and resell them later to other investors and bankers at a higher price. These short-term loans later became what's called commercial papers. Around that time, it was the beginning of the investment banking industry. Unlike commercial banks that provide more guaranteed and safe financing, firms like Goldman Sachs provide riskier financing, hence the term investment banks. 10 years later, Marcus Goldman grows his business to selling around $30 million in commercial papers per year. At the age of 60, Goldman has already surpassed the average life expectancy. And to make sure the family business thrives after he retires, he brings on his son-in-law, Samuel Sachs, as a partner. By 1896, Sachs grows the firm to have $1.6 million in capital, shared among 5 partners. But the business of issuing and trading commercial papers is quickly becoming saturated. To grow, they need to find the next big thing. By the late 19th century, it is taking companies public, aka IPOs.
If it's the first time you've issued shares, it's called an IPO, or initial public offering. So you're a private company, it's just you and a few friends own the company, but now you want to go public, you would generally go to an investment bank, talk to them about how to do it, and the investment bank would solve that problem for you by doing an underwriting.
At the time, doing IPOs belonged to more elite firms with a European heritage. As a Jewish firm, Goldman Sachs was sort of the outsider. But the Goldman Sachs partnership is determined to break into the IPO underwriting business. And they know just where to look. They're going to start by taking a Jewish company public. In 1897, Sears had a net worth of $250,000. But by 1905, it made $37 million in revenue and $2.8 million in net income. It's a perfect candidate for an IPO. But taking Sears public will be a tremendous undertaking, more than what Goldman Sachs can handle alone. Goldman Sachs decides to partner up with another up-and-coming Jewish firm, the Lehman Brothers. Together, they underwrite $30 million of common stocks and $10 million of preferred stocks for Sears. Both firms rake in an unprecedented amount of fees from this deal. As a result of their success, many companies become their clients. And by 1914, Goldman Sachs becomes a prominent investment bank on Wall Street. The senior partner, Henry Goldman, even gets invited to become a designer for the US Federal Reserve System. But IPOs are a cyclical business. After profiting millions in fees for issuing stocks and bonds, Goldman Sachs now needs to find a way to reinvest its money. The timing is flawless. The Roaring '20s is one of the greatest bull markets in the history of America.
It was a boom like we've never had. There was a belief that we were in the Emerald City.
Think about the roaring 20s. It was the go-go. Everybody was optimistic. Markets were soaring. When it's so easy for anybody to go get out a loan and then go speculate.
As an opportunist, Goldman Sachs intends to fully capitalize on it. It forms a trading corporation by putting down $1 million in capital, but immediately sells more shares to the public at 10 times the price. As a result, the trading corporation raises $93 million, and their original investment is worth almost $10 million. Today, the entity is more or less like the SPACs, Special Purpose Acquisition Corporations. As you can see, the essence of finance hasn't really changed. After making money virtually from thin air, Goldman Sachs starts more investment trusts, simply because there are people in the market willing to pay for them. This is not unlike the dot-com bubble during the early 2000s or the cryptocurrency mania recently. During the roaring 20s, you can just create an investment trust out of thin air, take it public, and the market will buy it.
Day by day, we were nearer to the final triumph over poverty than ever before in the history of any land.
But nothing good lasts forever. Eventually, everything comes crashing down. That day is October 29, 1929.